Man, what the hell happened to Carson Wentz? Like seriously, he went from an MVP candidate in 2017 to being injured late that season, watching Nick Foles and the Eagles win the Super Bowl, to becoming a career backup quarterback. And today, I will tell you the story, the downfall of Carson Wentz, and man, it's wild. So strap in as I tell you the brutal downfall of this man's entire career. So, back in college, Carson Wentz wasn't exactly a household name. He played for North Dakota State University, which dominated the FCS level of college football, and while NFL scouts loved his physical tools, there were still questions. Could a quarterback from a smaller school really succeed against NFL defenses? Apparently, the answer looked like yes. In the 2016 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles traded aggressively to move up and select Carson Wentz with the second overall pick. Which is insane to think about. Wentz showed flashes immediately during his rookie season. He was mobile, strong, fearless in the pocket, and he had a cannon for an arm. But it was his second season in 2017 that changed everything. This was the year Carson Wentz looked unstoppable. Week after week, he was making ridiculous plays, escaping sacks, launching deep touchdowns. He played with this aggressive, almost reckless confidence that fans loved. And suddenly, the Eagles became Super Bowl favorites. By late November, Carson had thrown 33 touchdown passes in just 13 games. He was the frontrunner for NFL MVP. Think about that for a second. A quarterback from a tiny college program was now being compared to the best players in the world. Philadelphia believed they had finally found their franchise quarterback, and then everything changed in one moment. Late in a game against the Los Angeles Rams, that same 2017 NFL season, Wentz scrambled toward the end zone and dove for a touchdown. But when he got up, something was wrong. He had torn his ACL. Just like that, his magical season was over. And this is where the story starts getting painful. Because while Carson Wentz was recovering, his backup quarterback Nick Foles stepped in, and somehow, the Eagles kept winning. Not only did they keep winning, they won the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 52 became one of the most legendary games in NFL history. Nick Foles outdueled Tom Brady. The Eagles won their first championship ever. Philadelphia exploded in celebration. And even though Carson Wentz helped build that team, he wasn't the one holding the Lombardi Trophy on the field. That matters more than people realize. Because from that point forward, everything around Carson Wentz felt different. The pressure increased, the comparisons started, and fans began asking uncomfortable questions. Is Wentz really the guy? At first, it still looked like he could recover. He returned in 2018 and showed flashes of his old self. But something felt off. He didn't move the same way anymore. That fearless athleticism that once made him special started disappearing, and injuries kept piling up. Back problems, concussions, knee issues. Every season felt interrupted by another setback. Still, Wentz had moments where he reminded people of the old Carson. In 2019, he dragged an injury-riddled Eagles roster into the playoffs. At one point, Philadelphia had practice squad receivers catching passes because so many players were hurt. Yet somehow, Wentz still got them to the postseason. But once again, disaster struck. During the playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks, Wentz took a brutal hit to the head from Jadeveon Clowney. He left the game with a concussion. Another painful ending. And by 2020, man, things completely collapsed. This was the season where everything just unraveled. Carson Wentz suddenly looked, well, unrecognizable. The mechanics were off, the confidence disappeared, and the turnovers became constant. He held onto the football way too long, forced terrible throws, and missed open receivers. At times, honestly, he just looked lost out there, and the stats were brutal. Wentz led the entire NFL in interceptions. Even though he didn't play the full season, he was sacked constantly. Some fans blamed the offensive line, others blamed coaching, and some blamed Wentz himself. But whatever the reason was, the Eagles were falling apart. And then came the moment nobody expected. The Eagles benched Carson Wentz for rookie quarterback Jalen Hurts. Imagine how shocking that felt. Just 3 years earlier, Wentz looked like the future MVP of the NFL. Now he was standing on the sideline, watching a rookie take over his team. And once Hurts started winning games, there was no going back. The Eagles had made their decision. Carson Wentz wanted out. In 2021, Philadelphia traded him to the Indianapolis Colts. The reunion seemed perfect, honestly, because the Colts head coach was Frank Reich, the same offensive coordinator who helped Wentz dominate back in 2017. People thought maybe this would save his career. Maybe he just needed a fresh start. And honestly, at first, it kind of worked. Wentz threw 27 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions that season. Not elite, but definitely respectable. The Colts looked like playoff contenders. All they had to do was win one of their final 2 games. That's it. One win. Instead, they collapsed. First, they lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. Then came the game nobody could believe. The Colts faced the Jacksonville Jaguars, one of the worst teams in football. Indianapolis was heavily favored, the playoffs were right there, and Carson Wentz played one of the worst games of his career. The Colts lost. Badly. It was embarrassing. The season ended in complete disaster, and just like that, the Colts gave up on him after only 1 year. Think about how crazy that is. A team trades for you, reunites you with your favorite coach, you put up decent numbers, and they still decide, nope, we're done. That tells you how much confidence organizations had lost in Carson Wentz. In 2022, he joined the Washington Commanders. Another fresh start, another chance, another opportunity to prove people wrong. But the same problems followed him. Bad decisions, inconsistent accuracy, costly turnovers. At times he played well. Then one mistake would completely derail everything. And NFL teams hate unpredictability from quarterbacks, especially veterans. By the end of the season, Washington moved on too. Now the perception around Carson Wentz had completely changed. He was no longer seen as a franchise quarterback. He became known as a quarterback teams only signed out of desperation. That's a brutal reputation in the NFL, because once teams stop believing in you, it's incredibly hard to recover. And what makes Carson Wentz's downfall so fascinating is that the talent clearly existed. This wasn't a player who lacked ability. We literally saw him perform at an MVP level. That actually happened. Which raises the biggest question of all. So, what destroyed Carson Wentz's career? Was it the injuries? Possibly. After the ACL tear, he never quite looked as explosive again. Was it confidence? That may have played a huge role too. Quarterback is arguably the most mental position in football. And when confidence disappears, everything falls apart. Mechanics, decision-making, pocket awareness. Even great quarterbacks can suddenly look ordinary. Some people believe the Super Bowl run by Nick Foles permanently changed how Philadelphia viewed Carson Wentz. Others think Wentz struggled accepting criticism and adapting his game. Former teammates and reports over the years hinted at leadership issues and locker room tension. Whether all of that was true or not, the perception started snowballing. And perception matters in professional sports. Once the narrative turns against you, every mistake gets magnified, every interception becomes proof, every loss becomes your fault. Meanwhile, the player who replaced him, Jalen Hurts, eventually became an MVP candidate himself and led the Eagles back to the Super Bowl. That made the Wentz situation look even worse in hindsight. Because now fans weren't just comparing Carson Wentz to his own past. They were comparing him to the quarterback who successfully replaced him. And honestly, that's one of the hardest situations any athlete can face. But despite everything, Carson Wentz's career is still one of the strangest stories in recent NFL history. Because for a brief moment, he truly looked like he could become the face of the league. The kind of player teams spend decades searching for. That's what makes sports so brutal, man. But that will do it for today's video. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Sports Unleashed for more.